My name is Jess Norton. I'm the owner of Wildflower Landscaping in Jefferson County, Washington, and I'm going to demonstrate how to suppress vegetation organically without the use of chemicals. So what we've got here, I'm going to be demonstrating how to suppress a patch of vegetation that would be similar to what you'd find on the roadsides in Washington State. And I'm going to be showing you a technique where we're going to use paper that's going to decompose after doing its job and leave hopefully very little residual. And what's important about this technique is that we're not cutting the grass before applying the paper and mulch. The reason that's important is because when you've got cut grass like this, similar to after the grass has been grazed, the grass is going to produce a little bit of a spike and is going to grow right up through that paper. What we're going to do is fold this grass down and place the paper on top of it. The reason that's important is because the grass will no longer have a pointy spike to grow up through the paper, and all this biomass under here is going to decompose and hopefully deplete the roots and leave fairly close to sterile soil underneath, devoid of all this vegetation. Well, what we've got here, the materials that we're going to be using are this kraft paper here, which is similar to cardboard, and cardboard has been used for many years as an underlayment under many different kinds of mulch. This kraft paper is going to be a lot easier to use, obviously. It's going to roll out easier, much quicker, and it won't have the cracks and voids the cardboard boxes, once they're unfolded, will have. So that's what we're going to be using today. And for years I've used simple grass clippings, fresh out of a bagging type mower. And this is terrific stuff because it's usually easily available to the local gardener. You simply mow your lawn and you put this material around your plants. You can use kraft paper underneath or not. And this stuff is really cool when it's fresh because it breaks down very rapidly in the first 24 hours. If you put this down 5 or 6 inches thick, that layer will actually compost down, get very hot, probably well over 100 degrees. And it will make a gas impermeable layer of thick mulch, similar to what you'd find in nature after cattle or grass-eating animals have eaten the grass and left it behind. What we're going to try today is also using broken hay. And this stuff is great because it's easy to transport. It's very available. There's a lot of low-grade hay in our county and should be really easy to come across. So we're going to do a test patch, a small one, with the fresh mulched hay and one with baled hay, which was baled about a week ago and simply picked up out of the field after the bales broke and were unable to transport. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to start by unrolling this kraft paper onto our test plot. And this is going to fold down the grass ahead of the paper and should be ready to mulch as soon as I'm done. There we have it. I'm just going to straighten this out And we'll do a couple more passes after I get this straightened out and cut the roll off. Well, now we've got a few sheets of paper down, and the next part of this project is laying down a little bit of these grass clippings. Now I'm going to use some fresh mulch on a corner of this just to see if there's any difference. And we're going to be using hay on the rest of this project. Then we'll come back in a few weeks, pull the paper up, and see what we've got. One issue that I've used grass clippings right out of the mower for many years. And one issue that I hope is not too important is that that grass, when it's fresh, starts to break down within just a handful of minutes, maybe within an hour, starts to get very hot, starts to steam, and in that first 24 hours, effectively probably goes through half of its breakdown. And that process, I think, helps to cook the existing vegetation under it and does a pretty good job of it. I'm hoping that's not important because the availability of fresh grass clippings could be difficult to find. So we're going to be doing this test patch with hay, which is hopefully very easy to find. We're going to be using low-grade hay and a lot of broken bales. This time of year, in August, this stuff is real easy to find. And my assumption is that in June, it would be easy to find also because there's a lot of farmers with their facilities full of year-old hay, and they're going to be looking to get rid of that low-grade year-old hay before the coming hay season. So I think it'll be very easy to find this material. It's easy to transport and easy to spread. This is my father, Norm Norton. He's going to help me distribute this hay along the paper that we've got down. Now it's important that this needs to be done on uncut grass. We definitely don't want the grass to have any spikes to grow up through the paper. So a nice healthy layer of foliage to be able to fold it down and roll the paper out over it. That underlayment's very susceptible to anything that can poke up through it. So to not cut the grass before you put the paper down is very important. And that can be said for any underlayment. Paper, I think, is more susceptible, so that much more important. Well, now that we've got our hay spread out over our underlayment, we're going to let nature do its thing. One thing that's important to note is that this should be done toward the end of the growing season, probably sometime in June. We definitely want to do this before the weeds go to seed and before they start to generate nutrients back into the roots, which usually happens in the last half of the summer after things have gone to seed. So if you hit this during the height of the growing season, hopefully we'll be able to deplete the root nutrients that are in the roots quickly and effectively, and nature will do the rest. We'll come back in a few weeks and see what we've got.
Well, the hummingbirds, butterflies, kids that walk the road, old ladies picking berries, son, the crickets, frogs, and toads don't know the grass is toxic or that angleworms is done. We used to pull and mow the weeds in the fresh air and bright sun. Don't go rolling in the chervil, don't go rolling in the hay. They're full of poison ladybugs, 'cause 'cause the noxious weeds, they say. Meanwhile, all this haste is spraying, is taking the bees away. So don't go rolling in the chervil. Don't go